Hello boys, HeirofCarthage here, and what the green fungal crap is going on. And I say boys because we's here to crump a bunch of stunties, ripped off their beards, robbed their teef, and take them back to the Badlands. How does that sound? That's right, there's a bunch of stunties on that hill over there, and this is going to be a 2v2 with HeirofCarthage and the dwarves facing off against the greenskins and the bloody hands. Let's take a look at the builds. The greenskins are just a hot goblin mess is the only way to describe this. It's a bunch of skulkers, night gobbos, night gobbo archers, rusty arrows. Yeah, it's all kinds of good stuff. And then over here we have the goblin cavalry like the moon howlers, the night goblin squig hoppers, deaf creepers, Morgub's mangy marauders. Got the Durkit's squig hoppers over here. Couple of Gobbo big bosses and a Gobbo great shaman. Now for the bloody hands, there are still a fair number of goblins because they are pretty decent in this matchup. We got some Doom Diver catapults, which are long range armor piercing anti-infantry type artillery. They're really quite good. We got some skulkers, 4 black orcs. So the front of this bloody hands line is going to hit like a black is the new green truck. So it should be pretty good. And they have squiggly digglies here backing them up. Squigs, squiggly pigglies, piggly squiggly. There's a couple of savage orc boar boys, and then the savage orc Wurzag, the great green prophet. And for the stunties, they have a front line of miners with blasting charges. Behind that, dwarf warriors. There are many units of thunders. I believe there's at least 4. Could be more than that, so a lot of thunders. There's 3 different slayer units. Sorry, make that 4 slayer units. 3 cannons. Ungrim with HeirofCarthage, Grombrindle with the dwarf main faction. There's a couple of iron breakers in a second line as well, along with some longbeards. So a pretty stout backline for the dwarves. Now the dwarves just do not have crap for melee attack. These Doom Divers are honestly a lot better suited to this battle than the cannons are really against the orcs in this case, because the orcs don't have any big monsters. I really feel like a grudge thrower would have been an excellent pick, and not just a grudge thrower, but the goblobber. The goblobber is very, very good against greenskins, as are other grudge throwers. So I find it good to bring probably 2 grudge throwers, 1 standard, 1 goblobber, and then if you want to bring a cannon, maybe 1 cannon against the greenskins is usually appropriate, because the grudge throwers do very well against greenskin infantries. Speaking of getting crumped, woo! That was quite an enormous stomping there on these iron breakers. Gore crumped them good. So over here we're going to have the miners with blasting charges kind of throwing their salvos. Their charges don't do a whole lot of damage versus anything that is highly armored, so the black orcs won't suffer much, but the goblins will. Kind of just depends on what they're throwing at. You see these squigs rolling on through. And there is a wah in effect right now. These nasty skulkers getting around the flanks, but they won't want to fight slayers. You'd really rather have the skulkers in the front line and bring your night goblins around into the back lines for the dwarves, because the skulkers will get ripped apart by slayers, whereas the night goblins are going to do a little better versus slayers. I won't say they'll do a lot better, but the greenskin advance hitting the front lines, not yet breaking through everywhere. There are some skulkers here that have broken through, already fighting against a dwarf warrior and a longbeard. You can see the guns here fighting to stay alive. Cheap goblin cavalry, probably not going to be great at taking down 80 armor thunderers. So it is a struggle sometimes. It's better to be more opportunistic. Squigs would be good at it. And Night Goblin Squig Hopper is better than nothing, but like Wolf Riders and stuff, they're not going to cut it. I like the maneuvering of the Skulkers here to get into the back lines, but they do get intercepted by a Dwarf Warrior, which was a very nice way to keep these Thunderers from getting hit. Here comes the Foot of Gork again, sinking his foot straight into a Thunderer and causing tremendous damage all at the same time. These Iron Breakers are unloading their blasting charges into this blob, and it's pretty effective. They've got 39 kills off of it. The back lines are utter chaos here as the insane goblin hordes have descended. There are a lot of Slayers and the Slayer King holding up the back line, but there are a lot of goblins along with Wurzag back here many of them with bows, just firing straight into the backs of the Dawi, and it is taking its toll. The rampaging squigs chewing on a giant mountain of iron here, but they're actually not doing all that good. I think the squigs should have combined a little better with the black orcs, and they would have been just peeling right through the Dawi, or maybe take the squigs around the back like the black orcs hit the front, and then start swinging in through here with the squigs to go for knockouts against the Longbeards. The Longbeards won't want to rout. They have very good leadership. Some warriors and some Longbeards over here holding on. Grombrindle has been buffing them. Some regrouped miners here getting some very nice blasting charges into these skulkers. Again, an unarmored unit will take quite a bit of damage to those blasting charges. Meanwhile, the Slayers are moving around, taking care of the different Goblin cavalry units that are attempting to take out the Thunderers, and some of the Thunderers have gone, and some of the cannons are out. I think all the cannons, except for this one. This one's moving through the lines, trying to stay alive. It's a nice trick. We'll see whether it works. Despite the 4 black orcs on this flank, they just have not made a whole lot of progress. Kind of shocked, to be honest. There's skulkers over here with them too, but there are a lot of Slayers really giving a lot of problems. Grombrindle must have gotten into an infantry unit. He's got himself a lot of kills there too, 39 kills. Yikes. These skulkers are not being used right now, but there's a perfect maneuvering position right here. They can get right into the back lines of the dwarves. There are a couple of dwarf units, of course, that could intercept. It's just that neither one of those are active for either team right now. The Thunderers, despite the fact that they're continually getting pressured, have continued to lay down barrage after barrage of fire, and this is very, very good for them. They need every last bit of this that they can do. You see these Thunderers have a very good position. Should be able to lay down some big fire here on these Spider Rider archers, or just Forest Goblin Spider Riders, whatever they are. Death Creepers. It's a brutal fight right now, an absolutely brutal fight. Ungrim is over here helping hold off the Night Goblin flank. Gonna get some itchy nuisance over here, courtesy of the Gabo Great Shaman on his wolf. And he better be careful. This heavily armored fight here without the proper support would not be a good place for a Night Gabo Shaman to spend too much time. You can see these nasty skulkers getting in here in the back, very nicely done. But there are more miners coming in from behind that fight too. And we've got yet another Wah coming down. These black orcs have obviously succeeded against a different target and are now coming back for a dwarf warrior, and they will cut through that dwarf warrior in a big hurry. There's more Slayers back here if needed. And there are some greenskin units that are kind of waffling here in the back after having gotten savaged. Let's see what the Doom Divers did. This one got 74 kills. Let's see how this one did over here. 116 kills. So pretty good damage coming off the Doom Divers in terms of infantry kills, but will it be enough? Because the Greenskins still have 2 very difficult things to deal with. Ungrim and Grombrindle. And the Greenskins Lords are not very well equipped to deal with the Dawi Lords, and it's going to leave them in a very, very tough predicament as the game wears on, because those 2 Lords are very tanky against everything that the Greenskins have here. And it's going to be difficult to kill them, especially with the presence of the Runesmith. Wurzag, he could use his effigy to get, but it is also weakened against the dwarves with their innate magic resistance. See another Wah going down here. You see the Doom Divers flying in the background. Let's watch them go track their targets. Very effective artillery. If they get a chance to fire for a long period of time. Very good against armored targets. Very good. Let's watch one more salvo of winged goblins come sacrifice themselves. Very good hits there from the Doom Diver catapult. It's got 157 kills. However, it is almost out of ammunition. So there's a few pockets of greenskins still left fighting. The Gabo Great Shaman here did manage to cut through most of these Longbeards, but there's still some Iron Breakers. They have 120 kills. There's a lot of Skulkers here, but they're starting to get worn down, and the leadership of the Dwarves right now is just absolutely unwavering for almost every unit that's in the fight. Slayers and Longbeards, not easy to rout. You pretty much have to kill all of them. Here comes Wurzag trying to get in behind the lines, but he actually gets intercepted by Slayers there. And if he doesn't catch that quick, he's going to be in bad shape. Gabo Wolf Rider Archers doing some damage to the Thunders, but there are quite a few Thunderers still left on the battlefield too. There's at least 3 units of them. Ungrim gets over here and is cutting his way through some Skulkers. He's got 87 kills. Grombrindle has racked up 72 kills as Runesmith. They helped push back that unit of Black Orcs, and it's a good thing they did, because that was a unit that was going to be a big problem for the Dwarves if they didn't get rid of it. But they have. Let's check out the Death Creepers. Charging in on some weakened Thunderers. The Thunderers would indeed need to be weakened for the Death Creepers to do particularly well because of all the armor on the Thunderers. These archers for the Greenskins were held back for a long time. They certainly would have been very useful up here. There was a lot of dwarf infantry blobs that would have taken a lot of fire in the back, or Thunderers that could have been shot. So these archers coming in late, potentially game-ending for Du Bois. It may stop all the dwarves from having their beards ripped and their teeth robbed. We shall see. Ungrim Iron Fist still fighting away over here. Gonna have Wurzag prancing around, doing his thing. And this has been one heck of a fight. One big grudge match, but the dwarves are kind of starting to get into their element here, which is late game, high armor, high defense. The enemy's worn out. Their leadership may begin to waver. The Gabo Great Shaman finds himself surrounded by Slayers. Very, very bad place for him to be. And you can see that his leadership is now gone, and they are routing, and the Greenskins are going to be hurting something fierce from that. These archers doing their best to try and come in here and cause all the late damage they can, but they're being pressured by regrouped dwarf infantry. They're going to have to turn and shoot it to keep it from charging them, but it's Longbeards. One of them is, at least. The other one looks like an Ironbreaker. Nope, both Longbeards. Really looked like an Ironbreaker. I guess some of them had helmets and it just looked that way to me. There are some regrouped Skulkers. It'd be a good unit to intercept that. There's now so many dwarfs left, though, that there's very little that these Gabo archers can do to save themselves or the battle. Wurzag is still alive, but he's nearly dead. There is a unit of what you call a Doom Diver catapult here, but there's only one weapon platform remaining, or launch platform, I should say. Let's go check out this poor Gabo schmuck. Late to the fight, but never too good to sacrifice himself for the cause. See that the Gabo archers have backed up and managed to set up a bit of a position, but there are also Thunderers moving in towards position. See them here, and they're going to open fire. It's not going to take much to break the leadership of these dwarves. That Doom Diver catapult's doing what it can to stop it, and there's some more archers over here opening fire, but now you've got Slayers chasing them down, and that's trouble because Slayers can catch the archers. They are very fast for a dwarf, as it tells us. Some Skulkers coming in on the intercept, but there's just really not enough left for the Greenskins to work with. And there comes Grombrindle smoke bombing. Wurzag's leadership breaks, and the Greenskins' hopes with them. That was a fun fight. Appreciate Overlord Quasar, FaZe Bob, Holy Zigzag, and Reptile King for putting together a fun fight for you all to watch here. These guys are just having fun, right? That's another one of the things. They get together in the Discord and set up these games, so if you all want to come join in, make sure you have joined the Discord. I like the pick of the Doom Diver catapults by Reptile King, and then pretty much all armor piercing for him. He definitely had the potential to do a lot of damage here. Wurzag is an interesting pick because the dwarves want to camp, and Foot of Gork can be good against tightly packed high mass units, which the dwarves have plenty of. But at the same time, Wurzag is a pretty shaky lord versus the dwarves when it gets into melee, and combine that with the fact that Bob was bringing, combine that with the fact that Zigzag was bringing the Gabo Great Shaman, which has no business fighting dwarf lords, a good support unit, maybe, probably better to just bring a Night Gobbo Shaman and then bring something like Grimgore and try and get in after the Dwarf Lords, because if you can't kill those Dwarf Lords, you're just going to get tanked by them in the late game. They're very, very strong. The Dwarves themselves don't usually cause a lot of damage in melee, but you can see the Slayers had a lot of kills because they were going up against some lower armor units. This Ironbreaker picked up a Chevron, and a little bit of damage done by the Thunders in this army, not a whole lot. But Ungrim picking up quite a few kills, and then a few of the Dwarf Warriors ended up scoring well here. These Longbeards with some Chevrons, it gives them a little bit of extra defense and leadership, makes them stay in the fight even longer. We're going to have... That was my... Yeah, I guess someone just sponsored the channel. So whoever you were, thank you for sponsoring the channel, even though I'm not on a live stream right now. So we've got these 3 Thunderers here, and a couple of Slayers that did some pretty good work between these units. Not bad at all. Grumbrindle was definitely busting up some Black Orcs and a couple other units, so he was quite useful here. If we look at Zigzag, it's cool to see all the squigs, but I mean, all of this stuff right here is very low leadership and can fall apart very quickly. There just wasn't enough meat in this army to really help Reptile King's Black Orcs get through that main line, so it didn't end up working out for him in this particular case. All of these squigs would have really needed to support the Black Orcs in order to get through a flank faster, while the light infantry keeps all of the other units busy. But I mean, Slayers are a nightmare for this light cavalry. Just a nightmare for it. If they get a hold of it, they kill it very quickly. So you got to be quite careful of that. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this replay. I know I did. I appreciate them sending it in. HeirofCarthage signing out for now, and I will see you all soon with some more content.